Hi, I'm Mike Haduck, and today I'm going to start a series on masonry tools. What tools did I use? So today the only three tools I'm going to really talk about is the trowel. I'm going to talk about a hammer, what kind of hammer I use, and levels. So first thing people ask me is, where do you buy your tools, Mike? Well, if you have nothing to do on a Sunday afternoon and you go to a flea market, for masonry tools, that's a good place to start, because it's a die-in trade and there's a lot of stuff people are throwing away. This portion of the tool thing, we're going to talk about levels. I would never buy a level over the internet. The only way I buy a level is if I go to an actual store and I check it, or I go to a flea market and I have another level with me. See that? You got to check it this way with this level, and you got to check it this way to make sure that's on. This is a dollar store one. This one, I don't even know where I got it, but it's right on. Some levels, these double levels, see that's off a little bit. And this side, turn it around, that's on. I was doing piers one time. I had a level that was a little off. It was driving me crazy until I figured it out. So when you buy a level, you got to go to a store and you got to get a bunch of levels and keep leveling them until you're sure that they're right on. You see there's a little difference there. This one's off a little bit. See that? That's off. This level's off a little bit. That's what you have to look for. Let's look at this level. See that? See the difference? This one's on. Now the old timers, let me show you the old time levels. This is an old time level. The old timers, the carpenters and everything, they would actually put this on a big piece of water, mud puddle or whatever, and they would level it with the water, and then they would adjust this to make sure that was right. And then, now this earth is spinning 25,000 miles an hour this way, and it's going through space at 19 miles a second. So somehow God figured a way to keep everything level. So when you go buy levels, the whole point is, I don't like these kind. You know, like I said, the cheapest level I got is this one. It's my favorite level. I'm always right on no matter what I do with it. You go to a store, you got to keep checking those levels. See that? Right on, right on. This is a dollar store level. Another thing is, if you put a level down like this and it's level, depends on where you put it on this, and then you turn the level around and it's level, you got a good level. But if you go and put the level down like this and it's that way, and then you go put the level like this and it's down that way, that level is no good. That's another way to check it, besides checking it with other levels. So you buy a level, make sure you know that level's good. So here I have an assortment of trowels. This is probably the only real professional one. I think it's a Marshalltown. Look at how big it is. This is my favorite tool. Look at the difference. And the reason is, why would I want to be picking this up all day, this heavy stuff? I'd rather use something small. And then this is my next favorite trowel. This is a more professional one. It's a little heavier though, but I don't want to pick up heavy trowels. I want to pick up light trowels. So I use this a lot. You'll see me using this one a lot. It's almost worn out. And then sometimes you get slickers. You get a smaller trowel for a smaller job. This one I cut the edges down. This is for flatting it out lower. Whatever thing you use. This is one we made. We got a piece of steel and we made it. This is a cheap one. You're going to ask me, Mike, how do you clean your trowels? Because sometimes I come back and there's cement all over it. I usually knock the big stuff off, and then I get this thing. I'm going to do a review on that, and I just grind it off like this. I'm ready to go for my next job, but I use anything that works. There's no special way to use a trowel. This is a trowel they used in Denmark. When I was over in Denmark, the people's house I was staying at, they gave me this trowel. This is the way they use it. You could use anything you want. A big heavy guy could use something like this. A small little guy could use something like that. See the difference in sizes? So I like to use a trowel that's light to use on my wrist all day long. Now if you don't want to go to a flea market, I bought this one over the internet. I'll send you a link to it, to my website, which will send you a link to where I bought this. Cheap trowel, but it's good. It's light. I like it. You can also look at the other stuff they got where you can buy a little package deal and get them all. Now we're going to talk about brick hammers. This is a modern day brick hammer, or I would call this one a block hammer. And this one is a lot smaller. You see the difference? Why is that? Because this is for like block laying. You know, where you're really pounding everything down. And this is for more finesse when you're doing brick. Anytime you see me with a brick, you see it's more finesse. You get more out of it. Use a big heavy one. Really can't control it that way. So we call these brick masonry hammers. The old days, this is an old timer from probably before the Depression. It's all worn out. Everything was wooden handles. Problem with wooden handles is they always wear out, and you got to be putting screws in them and keeping them in the water so the wood swells up. But I also put a couple links for this, but keep your eyes open at the flea market for these, because there's a lot of these laying around. We're going into a flea market now to get some tools. So here we are at the flea market. Here's a hoe. Here's a little trowel that's a little bent. We got a hammer here with no handle and a level with no bubbles. How much, Honest Mike, for all this?
$3 cash only.
Okay, thank you, Honest Mike.
You're welcome.
Well, that's it for my first little tool review. You don't have to have real professional tools. You just have to have something that works and is accurate. And I showed you how to check a level. I will put the description to my website and where I buy the tools, my affiliates, if you want to do that. And the next one will probably be about some power tools that I use. We'll go from there. So I'm Mike Haduck. Thanks for watching.